As we are just less than 1 week away from Nationals opening day, I'm going to start rolling out some bold takes for 2025. And my first bold take of 2025 is that Paul DeJong plays a big role for the Washington Nationals in 2025. I'll explain after this.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, I'm your host, Ryan Clary. You can catch me over on Twitter at RyanClary11 and as well as our show page at LO_Nationals. For all your latest Nationals news and notes, make sure to check us out over on Twitter. And of course, while you're at it, search up Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcast, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, and again, wherever you get your audio podcast, that is where you'll find Locked On Nationals. And also the video version of this podcast, you can check out over on YouTube. Look up Locked On Nationals and hit that subscriber button. A little bit later on in today's program, we'll be discussing what to watch for this weekend because the Nationals enter their final few games of spring training. They've got their exhibition game on Monday against the Baltimore Orioles. And I think that at this time, you've got some things to look out for. I'm going to explain what that is a little bit later on in the program today. In the second segment, it is a Friday, so we get you a Nats prospect stock report. And for the most part, all the prospects are done with spring training. They're down in the minor league portion of it so far. And there have been some very impressive performances. I've got 4 stock ups and only 1 stock down for you that we'll get into in the second segment of today's show. But we start off discussing Paul DeJong and why I think he plays a big role in 2025. But today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. And right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That is FanDuel.com. Paul DeJong was one of the sneaky signings of this offseason. A 1-year, $1 million contract, a major league deal, I might add. Off a season where he had a 0.9 B WAR between the White Sox and as well the Kansas City Royals, where he was traded to at the deadline. One thing is for sure with Paul DeJong is that he brings a veteran presence. Someone who has done it with the St. Louis Cardinals, someone who was just in the postseason this past season, who has been an all-star. He has been second in the Rookie of the Year, right behind Cody Bellinger in 2017. And I think that Paul DeJong is ready for a pretty big season for the Washington Nationals. Here is why I say that. I think Paul DeJong defensively over at third base has looked really good so far in spring training. And I think that we all know who's right behind him. It's former first-round pick Brady House, a top 100 prospect, whichever site that you check. He is going to be the future over at third base. But in the present right now, it is Paul DeJong. And I think that his confidence is totally different from this last offseason. If you look back at his season in 2024, he put up solid numbers. He was right around major league average. He hit 24 home runs. He had a 703 OPS, and he had a 97 OPS plus. So a tick below average, technically, but still, I still believe that he outperformed what a lot of people thought from him heading into that season. But now, as we are here today, I truly do believe in the fact that Paul DeJong is going to be a big part of the Nationals in 2025. The confidence that I have in him is similar to what I had in Jesse Winker last spring training. When the Nationals first brought in Jesse Winker, it was a little bit of head scratching because you think back and you're like, well, you have all this youth in the outfield, and now you're bringing in this guy who has not performed well these past few seasons, and he's bounced around a couple different clubs, and you're signing to a minor league deal, and lo and behold, he's your starting left fielder every single day and has a big role in that season. I think Paul DeJong is the Jesse Winker of 2025. The roles that Paul DeJong is going to play this season is pretty simple. Hold down defensively over at third base, which I think he will. The former shortstop, he's got a good glove. He's got the potential to be a plus third baseman, in my opinion. He has not really necessarily played all that much third base over the last few seasons. He did play that in 2023 and as well as 2024. But I still believe in the fact that he is going to be your everyday third. Before this, earlier on this spring training, position between Jose Tena and Paul DeJong. But that's not going to be the case because Paul DeJong, he performed very well this spring training, in my opinion. Sporting a 829 OPS, he hit for a little bit of power in his 35 at-bats, had a couple home runs, had a one stolen base, but also hit a couple doubles in there as well. Paul DeJong is going to bring value to this team. He is going to be the key guy that we trade at this deadline on July 31st, this upcoming summer. I am very confident right now in what Paul DeJong is going to bring to us. Now, let's just say Paul DeJong kind of gets back to his old form. Let's say he puts up similar numbers, like an 830 OPS. Do the Nationals decide to trade him still? Because if you are in contention, then you're going to have some serious situations that you're going to either have to break off of or keep in-house. And Paul DeJong, he rides that fine line today. You could make a case for Paul DeJong staying throughout this season because, again, the value that he brings over at third base could be unmatched. In a few months from now, I could be eating my words. There is a very real possibility where the Nationals say, Paul DeJong, thank you, but you are not getting it done. That is a real thing that might happen. But I'm going to go with the other way. I truly do believe that Paul DeJong will bring value to this team in more ways than one. When it comes to a young rebuilding ball club, you have to have leaders. You have to have veteran guys who have been around this game. You have to have veteran guys who have been around winning ball clubs in postseason baseball. Paul DeJong brings that to you. And right now, today, I feel very confident in what DeJong is going to bring to the Washington Nationals. He is going to bring power, and that is much needed. Looking at it from this past season, again, the numbers don't lie. One thing that Paul DeJong did really well was hit home runs. He had 24 home runs in 139 games played. He had 17 home runs with the Chicago White Sox, or 18 home runs rather, with the White Sox in just 102 games. Fell off a little bit with the Royals, but still the numbers were pretty good. And I feel pretty confident in what he has to bring for this Nats team. Now, what are some other things that he's going to bring? Again, I cannot harp this enough. Defense and leadership. There is no surprise right now with this Nationals. We know that this is a young, immature team filled with some puppies. But you also have to train those puppies. And you have to have a trainer. Paul DeJong, he is that trainer. He is going to be that guy that hopefully brings this Nationals ball club into contention. And be that leader. Be that Jesse Winker of 2025. He kind of has that same mentality as Jesse Winker. He's not going to be the rah-rah guy. That's not what he is. But he will bring leadership. And if he does play well, and even if he doesn't play well, people are going to rally around this guy. I believe in the fact that today, as we move forward, Paul DeJong is going to play a very big part for this Nationals team. And if you look at the numbers from this past year, again, the things that I need him to do is play well defensively, be a leader, and hit for power. He hit for power last year. He hit for power in spring training. He had a 69 percentile barrel percentage in 2024. His hard hit percentage was in the 59th percentile. So he's above major league average for what he is. I think he can do that and more this season. And also, think about it. When you're with the Chicago White Sox, one of the worst baseball teams that I have ever seen, and I've watched baseball for, I don't know, I'm 25 now, 18 years, one of the worst teams I've ever seen. Having the protection of James Wood, Dylan Cruz, CJ Abrams, and Luis Garcia, that's going to be a huge factor into this. Because you're going to be keying on, obviously, James Wood, CJ Abrams, who was an all-star in the first half, Dylan Cruz, who has the potential to hit over 300, and Luis Garcia, who continues to rise and his stock continues to jump forward and forward and forward, then he's only on a rocket ship up into space, in my opinion. They're going to sleep on Paul DeJong, and he's going to be able to hit some power, especially if he's behind some of those guys like James Wood, who's going to get on base, like CJ Abrams, who hopefully will get on base, and who Luis Garcia, which I believe will be getting on base quite a lot this season. So watch out for Paul DeJong, because I do believe that this guy in 2025 is set up to have a big season and really surprise some people and really make it hard for the Nationals to call up Brady House. But right now, Paul DeJong, I'm high on him. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Next, let's get into a Nats prospect stock report. Who's been up and who has been down? We'll discuss that after we tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. And March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the Nets. I've got my eyes on a few underdogs this year. Now, you might be thinking about it. It is a local team. I've got the Terps going to the Final Four. They are my underdog, and they get going today at 4 p.m. You'll be watching just like I will, and I've placed a little bit of money on them to win the national championship, and the odds are so good. And with tournament games happening almost every day, there's always something exciting going on. Not even just the Terps. You can watch McNeese State, like they just pulled off the upset last night with the King of Aura. If you know, you know. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Again, that is FanDuel.com. Now let's tell you guys about our friends over at Game Time. There's nothing better than catching an MLB game live, the crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the smell of ballpark food. And if you're looking to go last minute, Game Time makes getting tickets easier than ever. With last minute deals, all-in pricing, and a lowest price guaranteed, Game Time takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, ticket prices drop as a Game Time gets closer, meaning you can score an incredible deal. I'm going to tell you this, we are 6 days away from opening day. Do not buy tickets as of right now, because this is what I do, and I want you guys to do the same. And I've got an offer for you. Just stick with me. As you are walking up on opening day, you open up that Game Time app and you get that last minute deal that you can see only on Game Time. They've got flash zone deals. You can even see the views from your own seats. So see if there's any obstruction, any columns in the way. I'm telling you right now, you can use this with Game Time, because this is what I do, and I'm at nearly every single game. And I don't even have season tickets because Game Time makes me save money. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Next, let's get into a Nats stock report here. We have got a Nats prospect stock report, rather. This is for the young guys. So we start off just kind of looking at everything, a 30,000-foot view with your prospect stock report. Stock up. 2019 13th round pick, Orlando Revolta. He's going to be in the back end of your bullpen. He is going to be a guy. In 13 and a third innings pitched this spring training, he has 14 strikeouts, a 0.9 whip, a mid to upper 90s fastball, and a changeup that plays very well and causes a ton of confusion for hitters. He has been one of the most impressive guys all of spring training long. You saw him make a few appearances last August and into September. It really wasn't all that great, but you saw the potential. Standing at 6'7", you think that this guy is not going to find a way to be a impactful kind of player for this team? I think you're wrong. I don't know how impactful he will be, but he is going to have some impact on this season, and he is going to play a key role in this bullpen. Because again, as we were saying in this first segment, this is a team full of young guys. Jose Frere, I think we know what we've got. We've got a nasty reliever in him. Kyle Finnegan, he's a solid closer, and he'll be a solid setup guy if Jose Frere takes that closing role. But watch out for Orlando Ribalta. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Hunter Harvey, and I think he could play that role in a really effective way. He's 27 years old, and he's under team control for the next 6 years. Watch out for Orlando Ribalta. He is going to be a guy for the Nationals bullpen in 2025, and I would not be surprised to see him pitch in some key situations. My one stock down for the Nationals prospects from spring training, I don't want to pick on this guy, but the numbers are the numbers. Shin Ogasawara. It just has not worked. In 5 starts, he has an 11.25 ERA, a 2.67 whip, and at this point, I do think he will be with the Nationals at some point in 2025 because injuries happen and someone's got to get called up. But Ogasawara, it's just not working out. He has a stock down for me, and I was intrigued by him, by the signing. I thought it was an interesting one. I thought the Nationals could potentially do something with this. But at this point, he is just not a major leaguer, and that's okay. It's going to take some time for him. He's going to start down in AAA, and he'll hopefully do better things and get used to a major league pitching clock. So that's one of the things that he's going to have to work on. But that's my one negative from these Nats prospects, because we saw a lot this year, and someone that we want to see a lot from is Brady House. He is my stock up, my second stock up of the day. Brady House did not slug the way that we wanted him to, but he got on base and he put the ball in play, and he is elite defensively over at third base. One thing that really stood out to me this spring training when I was down there was that Brady House has matured physically. He is there. He looks the part of a major leaguer. And I was watching his batting practice. The way that he conducts himself, I think, is incredible. Brady House was splashing the ball all over the yard. I saw him go to the opposite field, many home runs. Now, it was batting practice, but if you look at the way that he just kind of goes about it, it's not up there just taking hacks and trying to hit some long balls in front of the media there. That's not what he's doing. He is working on his craft, even in batting practice. He's going to have a big year in AAA, and unfortunately for us at this point, I think Brady House will also have Paul DeJong will also have a big year for the Nats. So he might have to wait down a little bit, but it's going to be a hard decision for the Nationals to make because they think Brady House is the future over at third base. I think he's the future over at third base, and they're going to want to have him get reps up in the bigs eventually at some point. And I think this is going to be the year for him, and he's going to have a big year in AAA and really just kind of get ready to be a everyday major leaguer in the future third baseman of this team, and it's a big deal. You've had Ryan Zimmerman here before. You've had Anthony Rendon. The Nationals have always had great offensive third basemen, and really defensively as well with Rendon and Zimmerman back in the day. I think Brady House will be up next. Another stock up for a pitcher, Brad Lord. He basically just came out of the bullpen all spring long, and I think that might be what the Nationals have in store of him. If you notice, Brad Lord had his velocity up a lot this spring, touching 97 a few times. He did not really do that this past year in 2024. But if you look at his numbers, he was one of the best starting pitchers that this team had to offer down in the minors. Flew his way up from high A all the way into AAA. Struggled a little bit last year in AAA Rochester, but he's got the stuff. And outside of one outing where he gave up 8 earned runs and didn't even get out of the inning, that was his one bad start, or his one bad kind of relief. He got rocked Wasn't really walking guys. He was just getting tattooed. He walked a few batters in that, but that's going to happen. Like, guys are going to get rocked. And unfortunately for the Nats, I don't think they really expected that from him because they just let him out there and they let him wear it. It was tough. But outside of that, Brad Lord was really impressive this spring training. And I really believe in the fact that he is going to be someone that will be in this bullpen, maybe even a starter at some point. And he's going to play a pretty decent key role for this Nationals team moving forward. Stock up. You can't do stock report for this prospect team in spring training without talking about Robert Hassell III. He has been, again, the most impressive prospect all spring training long. He has put up the big numbers in just about 45 at-bats. He's got 17 hits. He's batting .370, has a .951 OPS, and I cannot get over what he has done defensively. He has continued to look the part of what he was back in 2022. And if you don't remember, that's when Robert was healthy from the first half of the season, and he was a top 30 prospect in baseball. He entered the year as a top 50 prospect, worked his way up into the top 30 at one point from different publications, and the Nationals and myself were very high on him. He has been injured these past 2 years and has not really been himself at the plate. He's been solid defensively, but the ceiling that Robert Hassell brings to this Nationals team is a big deal. He is going to be an impactful big leaguer, and I do believe that it will happen in 2025. This is a big year for Robert Hassell because, again, he has showed the part in back-to-back spring training now against big league talent. Can he do it in AAA? Can he continue to stay healthy? And if he does, both those things happen, you will see him in this Nationals lineup eventually, especially if Jacob Young struggles at the plate and the Nationals are going to look for an upgrade. Robert Hassell is a very clear in-house option that will be up in the bigs if he can stay healthy, number one, and perform offensively because he's got the talent defensively to be a plus defender in center field or in right field or even in left field if that's where it happens. But watch out for Robert Hassell as we get into 2025. But thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Before we jump into some things to watch for this weekend, I've got one big thing that I want you to watch for, and that is, well, I'll tell you after you hear about the bracket breakdown.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
And we are back after that bracket breakdown. I'm getting excited for some NCAA tournament action today. You can check that out all day long, but also we've got some Nationals baseball to watch this weekend. And by the way, today is a free game on MLB TV, so you can check out the Nationals later on this afternoon. And why not? Nationals baseball, NCAA tournament action. You're going to want to watch that. But speaking of something that you're going to want to watch, I want you to watch out for this one thing this weekend. As we enter the final few days of spring training, the Nationals play a home game. Now, it's still an exhibition game against the Baltimore Orioles at Nationals Park this Monday, 1:35 first pitch, I believe, or it's 1:05, in between one of those. But watch out for how Davey Martinez constructs this lineup, because we have seen some mixed match scenarios so far this spring, and that's what spring training is about. But I believe that you are going to see your opening day lineup and exactly how it should be, 1 through 9, at some point these last few days here. And watch out for how Davey does that. Is Jacob Young going to be the 9-hitter? Probably. But I really want to watch out for is where CJ Abrams is. I still think that he is going to be the leadoff guy, but having Dylan Cruz here is an interesting thing. Maybe they also go the analytic route and try to put James Wood as your one hitter. To have your best overall hitter be your number one guy, have the most at-bats possible, and see what he does. That is something to watch for because I think Davey Martinez, and really, it's a smart thing to do at this point, they are going to show their hand of what the lineup will look like. And I think that the way that it's constructed with a bunch of lefties and some righties in there, you're going to see how this Nationals team conducts their lineup. And I think Davey Martinez will show that off at some point this weekend. So I want you to keep an eye out for that. But until then, you got some NCAA tournament basketball to watch. And if you don't know if maybe you're trying to catch a game in your hometown city, go over to Game Time and check it out. Or maybe you just want to sit on the couch just like I do. Open up that FanDuel app, visit FanDuel.com, and you're going to have some fun. I can promise you that. But until then, I will catch you guys on the flip side. We'll talk about Monday's exhibition game on Monday, and we'll discuss that and more right here on Locked On Nationals. And next week, baseball is back in D.C. Let's bleepin' go.